Alright, hey guys, welcome back. This is going to be the English coverage of the Dota 2 Professional League group stages. Once again, I'm going to be your caster Annie, aka Android, and I am being joined by Mad Kings for this series. What's up, dude?
Hello.
Oh wow, your mic is like hella soft. Try again?
It's soft or what?
Oh, there you go now. Oh, you're very loud. Well, we'll figure it out here. We are starting off with the draft here. We've got our first couple of picks. Now, FTD.A, they're not picking out anything super unusual, but we've got an Elder Titan on the field. First round of picks for EHOME. Are they going to throw this guy in the off lane, support? What's he going to be doing?
I think it's been old Lana playing it a fair couple of times for the side of eHome the last couple of matches they've been playing. It is one of those interesting support heroes, honestly, because it is a very, very nice scaling hero. And when you play against heroes like Doom, heroes like Earth Spirit, it is a good hero because you can pretty much reset the fight by using the Echo Storm, obviously. So if someone gets gone on and you use that Echo Storm landed successfully, then you can just, buy time for your team to get out of the Doom duration, get out of the Earth Spirit, so you can't reset the stones and all that good stuff. So it is one of those control heroes, I guess you can call it.
I mean, I've seen Elder Titans just go through and rip apart really strong, really cohesive teams. Do you think that's what eHome are trying to do here? Are they trying to have this be, very calm, collected Elder Titan that sits at the back of team fights, sends out very planned out Astrals and really, really nice Earth Splitters? Or do you think we're going to see just kind of the YOLO, all in, just get in, stomp, have fun kind of Titan?
It's probably going to be a mix. I mean, in general, the hero is just very, very powerful because it can very much disrupt the team fight of the enemy team. Like, whether you go on the offensive or defensive, it can just always be a pain in the ass because suddenly you just sit there, slept for 4 seconds, and it's pretty much the enemy team's turn to, like, choose whether they want to attack you or not. They can do pretty much whatever. So, overall, a strong hero, and Doom and Earthquake, both strength heroes. So, nullifying the armor they have is also going to be, at least to an extent, a good thing.
I mean, we've got strength on strength right now. It'll be interesting to see who's the first int hero picked up. As if Elder Titan is going to be running more of that softer role, then we are going to need some sort of babysit support here. Do you think the Slardar is going to be going in the safe lane?
I actually don't really know. I think it could be pretty much either way. Because EHOM, they do tend to run these kind of greedy position fours, which Elder Titan does run into. So you could be seeing something aggressive in the safe lane, or just having a very very having a very very poor position five here, like a Lion or Disruptor, or the likes, who doesn't really need much more than just levels and the basic toolkit. But it could be either way. And like, looking at the bans, we also do see the Disruptor obviously being banned out. A very strong hero to, at least against the Earth Spirit, for it is very powerful to silence him up, keep him controlled. And apart from that, there's not really too many unusual bans, like the lifesteal getting banned out early is just because it's very annoying. And Puck Darkseers, and maybe just some very aggressive heroes coming out from FTD Club A if they want to be able to use the ET to gank the mid lane. They want to be not having a Puck in the mid lane, obviously, because it can easily escape. And Darkseer, pretty much the same thing. If you want to have someone ganking other lanes on your support heroes, then you don't want to deal with a Darkseer in your safe lane because it's a very annoying hero to just pressure the lane.
Alright, now we've got a Lycan picked up, so it's most likely going to be an offlane slaughter, unless they're trying to run Lycan in the jungle, which would be a bit unusual. Could be running it mid, but so far we have got like oodles of strength heroes. Do you think eHome are going a little too all in? Do they need to play a little bit safer?
And they're definitely setting up, well, as you say, safer. They're going to pick up a Dazzle, so that is
Oh, I
going to
like
be
that.
that is going to be all around pretty nice. Keeping these very very beefy strength heroes safe and sound. Instantly picking up the Ancient Aberration from FTV Club A. Actually, not really taking too long to think about that, which is a good response. Obviously, the Dazzle does have a lot of healing behind his back, so the A is going to be able to do quite a lot. It is a very powerful team fight hero as well with the A Blast, and overall the Invoker can do a lot of burst damage in the fights as well. So it does look like FTV Club A does have a lot of magic damage coming their way. And eHome, a lot of pushing power with the Lycan. The Slaughter does do make him able to do a lot of right click damage as well with the amplified damage. Even the Elder Titan has the natural order that can take away armor. The Dazzler has weave, so getting heroes that has a lot of armor and relies on having armor is probably not going to be the best way that FTD Club A can pick around.
Alright, so FTD Club A looks like they've got their supports picked up. If Doom is going to offlane, which it looks like he will, then they still need a safe lane core. Now, do FTD Club A go with something very heavy initiating or something kind of sit back farm and just kind of shine in the late game?
I kind of hope they don't go for one of the like very farm intensive cores because like if they pick something like a Sven, I feel like it's gonna run into a lot of issues, especially because there's an Elder Titan on the team. It is just often gonna be controlling most of the safe lane cores, so you want someone who can at least go in and fight early and be somewhat useful in the early game, especially because you have an invoker in the mid lane, so it's not like you only have one hero that is gonna be able to do everything. And you do have the invoker who can scale amazingly into the late game, so you can cut him some slack and then pick a more aggressive safe laner.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of want to see something really crazy here. Like, I want to see a Sven. I know we haven't seen it in a while. They ban out the Wraith King, which has a similar playstyle to the Sven. I mean, has that point-click stun, scales up really nice into the late game, so could we see the resurgence of that, or are we going to see something a little bit new meta, like the PA, which got a bit buffed in 6.88?
I don't think the P is going to be picked up in this situation because the ET is going to be doing a lot of issues for him. The Dazzle Heal is actually a very, very powerful burst damage tool against the PA early on. So it is going to be a little bit difficult pulling off, even though it does fight pretty decently into the Slaughter as well as Lycan. And they're going to go for the Slog. So a nice hero. I mean, you can purge off all of the negative effects from EHOME. You can time it so the Echo Storm really won't do anything to the Slog.
Wow, this is a
Juggernaut.
really balanced lineup, I'd say. I think these two teams have the potential to go in. One thing I'm noticing is there's just a lot of melee. Invoker kind of being the only big core that isn't melee, going to be not all up in your face. So there's going to be a lot of close-in brawls, and I think that really does favor the Ancient Apparition. All he has to do, send an Ice Blast in, and if he connects on 2 or 3 EHOME team members, that's gonna be a one-team fight for FTD Club A. So I'm really liking the Dyer's draft, but we'll have to see as we go into the games.
Yeah, speaking about all of these melee heroes, I guess it is going to be obvious that the ET could, like you said, be the one standing in the back and just making sure the cause doesn't get killed. The Juggernaut getting picked up is probably going to be the mid lane Jug. Obviously, running a mid lane melee hero up against Invoker fairly often works pretty well, like the Juggernaut, the PL. It is something that a lot of teams go for. The Juggernaut isn't amazing against Slug, but it deals fairly well with all of the other heroes, and that's just pretty much one more call you have to worry about. The ultimate obviously always going to be pretty insane to deal with, and yeah, but we'll see. The Dice does have a pretty all-rounded, well-made draft, though, I would say. So we'll see if the Radiants I can pull it off with these, like you said, a lot of melee heroes.
Yeah, I definitely think FTD Club A have a lot of potential, but they are playing with a couple of stand-ins here, both their mid and the support. Gonna be unusual players. Haven't seen them play thus far in the tournament, and I think a lot of weight is going to be on Invoker's shoulders, so we'll see if they can get that synergy going with the stand-in mid player. Again, I'm not sure if that's a regular stand-in or kind of a last-minute grab them while you can kind of player, because an Invoker that doesn't play with synergy, an Invoker that's doing his own thing, will not drive well with FTDA's lineup.
Definitely not, and we will also have to see whether or not he's going to be going for the Exalt style. Honestly, at this point, I would say both Exalt as well as Crossworks would be pretty impactful because here's like the start of the Lycan. You can do a lot of work if you disrupt them with Crossworks. So he has multiple ways he can run this. Obviously, you can also set up an AA blast with a tornado. So that's a couple of ways he could run it. I wouldn't really say that Exalt is necessarily better than Crossworks in this situation. It pretty much just comes down to how aggressive they want to be, I suppose.
Alright, so going ahead and looking at the lineups here, we've got everyone kind of disconnected, but I mean, we've talked this draft a little bit to death, but how do you think the laning phase is going to go? Do you think this Earth Spirit's going to kind of camp mid and help the Invoker, or do you think he's going to try to roam, maybe do kind of a aggressive try or a safe try? You know, what's going to be the laning situation going on for the Dire?
It is most likely going to be a safe lane trial in the start because the starter, if you're up against the A as well as the slug only, then once you hit like around level 3, level 4, you are going to be starting to be able to put pressure on your own. So they can't just leave the slug alone in the safe lane. The Doom is going to be one of those like passive off lane. There's probably going to be like half jungle, half off lane. So the E-home side, they will have a very, very safe lane. Makes sense, I guess. But you know, the Lycan also just being a self-sustaining hero. So there's going to be E-home rotating heroes around on the other side of the maps. And FTD Club A, I think they're going to be mainly just trying to react to the rotations that E-home makes. And just keeping their own safe lane nice and fine.
Alright, so looking at Old Chicken, it looks like he grabs up the poor man's shield and he will be heading mid. Do you think that's going to be a successful Juggernaut mid lane? But going up against an Invoker, I mean, he's really got his work cut out for him. Do you think he's going to get burned at these early levels, or does he have the potential to scale up evenly with the Invoker?
Most melee heroes work pretty well against the Invoker, when just by having the pole man shield does nullify a lot of the right click damage from the Invoker. Overall, and obviously, if you at some point he will get a bottle, he has this healing orb when he does get the initial levels. So I think Juggernaut is going to be pretty fine. I mean, it is going to be a matchup that Invoker should be getting a couple more last hits in, but it's not like the Juggernaut will get zoned out. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at this overall roster here, FTD.A, they are just a group of ragtag bandits here, all standing in, going up against the very composed EHOME. Now, EHOME, coming fresh out of the Manila Major, didn't do so hot. So maybe they're kind of tilted on that, or maybe they've been getting together, practicing, scrimming, and they're here to just crush FTD.A. You know, the odds are actually not so heavily in favor of EHOME in terms of betting sites, so I'm very interested to see what happens if this band of stand-ins can really go up against a Manila Major team.
Yeah, I think EOM has been having some rough couple of games, both against the some of the other Chinese teams lately. So it is, maybe a little bit hit and miss, but we'll see if it is going to be like one of the good time EOM plays, or if it's going to be one of the lesser impressive times. I mean, it is, sometimes they play well, sometimes they don't. You can't always expect them to be godlike, I guess.
We've got Slardar here drawing a masterpiece on the map. Ice 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 is illustrating something beautiful. I cannot quite figure out what it is, but there's some juke paths being drawn out. They did start things out with a smoke, which I'm not quite sure how much they're going to get out of that, because they did smoke immediately right out of the base, and maybe it just gives them that little extra bit of movement speed to get to the runes, but usually you kind of want to wait till you have a game plan and you're grouped up on your side of the map to smoke up. What are they really going to get out of this?
This is pretty much just because of the Ice TPing into the mid lane, wanting to get an early ward up. Some teams do like first TP and then smoke, but it is a lot easier to just smoke from the base, get everyone smoked up, because like you said, they get a little bit increased movement speed while you just want to use it for the warding purpose, because you keep people invisible for at least a little while, so FTD Club A doesn't really know what's happening where they are, at least for the initial couple of seconds. It is a small thing, but it is always, these small things is always going to be a little good thing that you can do if you're like a tier 1 team just playing around with it. But it is mainly for the warding that Slardar's going to provide in a couple of seconds when he has 2 wards on him, so just putting the aggressive vision down.
Alright, so Mad Kings, you are a pretty solid high MMR player here. I know you've been up there in a decent bracket for a while now. How do you think the changes to Doom are really going to affect him here? Because he was snatched up immediately, first phase pick, but with that extra long cooldown there, with his new changes, is he going to be as viable of an offlaner?
I don't think it matters too much, honestly, because it's not like his tool set is something he wouldn't necessarily spam. He can still get a lot of levels his way. I've actually seen recent Doom players go for a little bit more of a greedy style, actually maxing Devour rather than going for like the typical max Scorch Earth, where you focus a little bit more on the economic gain and potentially even getting a Midas on top of that, where the Doom can still get insane amounts of farm. But I don't personally like that build though, but it is still a very, very powerful offering, just because it can easily get a lot of farm from camps and whatnot.
Alright, so group up here, Radiant are going pretty heavily to contest this bottom room, but looks like Dire aren't going to give it away for free. They're bringing in Shade, they're bringing in the Earth Spirit, who does have the Stone Remnant, all set to go, holding on to what is most likely going to be a Rolling Boulder. I'll have to see if there's going to be some blood spilled down here near the bottom part of the river.
Yeah, we'll see. They are all showing quite a lot of people in the bottom area, but you'll probably see FTD Club A potentially just backing up, because I don't think they have a very powerful level 1 engagement team, as the Doom kind of wants to just sit back and level up his Devour. The Invoker showing that he is going to go for the EMP style, so this actually does mean that the mid lane should be somewhat favoring the Juggernaut, because obviously the EMP doesn't really touch him as long as he has mana to spin.
Alright, so it looks like they're gonna leave this rune here, walking Invoker, taking a slow stroll over to pick it up. 1-1 rune split, not gonna get too feisty here. We are gonna have a group up. It looks like the Elder Titan might stick around for a little bit, or just going in for that block. Now, where's Lanham gonna find his home? He's building up those nice support items. He's got that Windlace for some decent early movement speed. Do you think he's gonna spend his time ganking mid, or go for a nice try down bottom?
It is pretty much one of those heroes who's just going to rotate around trying to cause some disruption on the enemy team. The first thing he's going to do is just, run at the Doom, knowing that the Doom is going to be in the jungle trying to get his levels. They didn't actually go for the early block of this camp, which usually you do see people go for, but instead he's just going to, go run in, meet him up and say, hello, bro, and hit him a couple of times.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna have fun. Up top here, we've got a Slardar going up against 3 heroes that do not want to let him have any XP, and Slardar's pretty decent at staying in the lane, getting that XP, getting that farm, but up against an AA, up against an Earth Spirit, there's a lot of punish available on FTD.A, so we're gonna have to see if Ice gets punished for his aggressive playstyle.
Yeah, it is very hit and miss. Like, once you get pounced up, you're pretty much, like, insured dead because of the chilling touch from the ancient aberration being more than enough damage with 3 heroes to just burst anyone down, pretty much.
Yeah, so it looks like both offlaners having a bit of a tricky time sticking up in that XP wave. We'll have to see how that affects the last hit chart going forward, but so far both carries and both mids are doing a decent job at getting what they need to out of the lane.
Yeah, it's not so bad. And one notable thing is obviously the Juggernaut in the mid lane actually being a little bit ahead of the Invoker. He's a melee hero, and like we talked about, the Invoker skilling up his Wicks rather than Exalt means that his last hit damage, his right click damage, isn't really that scary. So it is a lot easier for the Juggernaut just to be, pulling ahead in terms of last hits and denies.
Now, do you think there's going to be any bloodshed in the mid lane, or is it going to be just this passive farm fest? Because it looks like, both teams have those very aggressive supports that like to roam and like to go for early kills. I mean, you've got the Elder Titan, you've got the Earth Spirit, but no one's moving around just yet.
I think, if anything, it's most likely going to be the ET being able to maybe set up some ganks in the mid lane on the Invoker, because obviously, as long as Juggernaut has some mana for the spin, it is pretty much an impossible mission for the Earth Spirit to make a rotation that will result in a kill.
Alright, now Shade pushing up pretty aggressively here. There is going to be that Earth Spirit coming in. We'll see if he wants to go through and land a cute little stomp. He's got it at the ready, and does he pop out that Astral, or does he back off? Well, looks like no one's going to be dying just yet. Down bottom, we do have the Doom going up against the Dazzle, who has leveled up that Poison Touch. Only going to be sitting at level 2, but first skill Poison Touch, second skill Shadow Wave. Very survivable, very aggressive Dazzle.
Yeah, level 1 Shadow Poison is always just, the zoning tool just being a little bit annoying. And now even just using the heal just to do a little bit more damage to him, trying to zone him out as much as possible. Just being like, yeah, get out. He doesn't have any more region apart from, popping a Scorched Earth as well.
Fenrir going in, being, again, just super aggressive. Just that one right click means Doom only heals up to about half health, and he's pretty far off from, if he is going for Tranquil Boots at this point.
Yeah, and he doesn't have any more region unless he wants to pop his Scorched Earth, so can't really stay that well in the lane. He's actually going to pop it now, and now all down also rotating in.
Oh, they're going in down bottom. It looks like we could have a little scuff going down. They get the stomp, they get the spear going on through M. He's slowed up, but he's still alive. There's going to be the Lycan howling to try to get more movement speed, but M, he's still up. He walks back in, taking a couple more hits. I don't think the Shadow Poison's going to be nearly enough. They still have Fan here, ready to go at the ready. He's got Wolves in 2 seconds. Does he want to pop those out, or do they just want to take some casual harass in the tower? Looks like that will be the play. No one's going to die just yet. Doom getting very, very low. Now Cookie Bear going to be trying to just watch his base burn. There's nothing he can do about this. There's going to be a stomp to clear out the wave, and they've still got Lycan with some decent time left on his Wolves, so I think this is going to be Radiant, at least exerting a bunch of pressure on this bottom tower, if not securing it.
Yeah, this is pretty much the ET as well as the Dazzle, having such an amazing ability to clear waves.
Rotating back in the Doom, they go in immediately for a stomp, they connect onto M. Do they bring in any more damage here? There's going to be a Poison Touch, but they do get the Chilling Touch off the AA. Wants to get something then, there's going to be a heal. Looks like they're going to walk off that Cold Feet. No one's getting stunned in place just yet. M with the Scorched Earth, trying to do some damage to Lanham. Lanham's fresh out of mana, there's not much he can do. He's taking a little bit of damage. It's going to be a Hellbear Clap, or rather a Thunder Clap, not connecting from the Doom, and Lanham stops for a Bounty Rune. Stopping at the ATM on the way home, doing his errands, and looks like he will get stunned up. There's going to be a short-range tornado, not enough to catch out Lanham. Can they get one more hit on him? He's so low, 3 health. It looks like he will go down. Cookie Bear getting the final click on that. Maybe trying to go for a trade here as Fan brings in his little cute army and trying to go on the Doom, but Doom will back off. So in the end, it's going to be a positive exchange for FTD.A.
Yeah, that was a huge rotation though for the side of FTD.A. So I think overall EHOME is actually going to be okay with that because they did get the tower, which was, the primary mission in that bottom engagement. And there was, 4 people rotating, even the Invoker going in. So it is going to be some free time for the Juggernaut in the mid lane, and even actually getting a little solo kill on the AA, helping his early Omni Slash.
Yeah, he's doing really good in terms of items here. He's going to be flying in a Wraith Band, just get those nice juicy stats. He's already got his Poor Man Shield. He started out with that and Phase Boots. Does he go for, the farming Sanch and Yasha, or does he level up this Quelling Blade into a Battle Fury?
And when you have a mid juggernaut, you usually just go for like either like the drum style juggernaut where you go just straight into the fighting items, not worry too much about having to farm, because obviously you do have a Lycan. We could see some kind of variation because obviously Lycan is going to be able to be aggressive instead of the juggernaut, so they could be just having the juggernaut as the greedy position one if things go wrong, if they want to go for the farm game. But I think they are in a much better position just going a little bit more aggressive because the heroes can easily play around that.
Alright, let's look at our overall last hits. Looks like the Radiant, they're doing just a little bit better than the Dire. Juggernaut keeping pace on the Invoker pretty heavily. You talked about the importance of having that mid melee hero. Now, Ancient Apparition gets stunned up, but there's going to be no follow-up, just keeping him back. Invoker picks up his phase boots, but looks like Old Chicken is still one decent stat item ahead of him. Now, in the jungle, we're going to have a little bit of a rumble. There's going to be a hasted up Elder Titan going in, trying to harass back Cookie Bear. Looks like nothing's going to come of it just yet, just buying some time. Radiant are definitely enjoying the fact that they can kind of pressure this map early, and no one's going to punish them on the side of FTD.A.
Yeah, the Elder Titan is getting pretty much the same amount of levels as the enemy team support, so he's doing nice, and like we talked about, he is just, you know, causing disruption everywhere on the map, just making sure that FTD.A has to keep trying to go on in, keep trying to rotate, keep trying to keep a watch of what he's doing, and it is going to buy space for the rest of the team to just do their own thing, to farm up the woods. I mean, you even have the Lycan just giving away the bottom lane to the Dazzle, so that the Dazzle can get the early levels, get the level 6 very fast. And, you know, Lycan just jungling away, getting the Vladimirs up and running as soon as possible. So they're just focusing a lot on, you know, giving space for pretty much everyone on the team to get levels and get farm.
Alright, now, mid lane, Juggernaut, yeah, in terms of net worth, very much outdoing the Invoker. There's going to be a stomp, won't connect on the Shade this time, but he's forced back effectively under tower. I mean, he's going to be picking up that magic wand just to get himself some more regen, but it looks like Juggernaut has so much more kill potential, and we were talking earlier during that pause at the beginning of the game how Invoker is such a key component of FTD.A's early damage. Is this already too far gone? It seems like Radiant are enjoying the power they're exerting now, rotating around. Going to be grouping up here in this mid lane. They're going to bring in the Crush, and it looks like there's just going to be follow-up Stunlock damage. Shade sitting there, has to take it. They fly the Courier in very, very deep, but looks like Juggernaut, he goes through, he gets a kill. There's no punish anywhere. He will be going for that drums build like you talked about, picking up that Windlace, and there's going to be another tower going down on the side of EHOME.
Yeah, this is just the ability of EHOME, just rotating on a couple of people, getting a kill, then taking a tower on top of that.
Well, Chicken has the Omni available. Doom pops out the Scorched Earth. Is he going to go for it? He will. Is it going to be enough? 3 strikes fly through. One more hit should be enough. Oh, one more hit. Old Chicken showing no mercy. Now 3-0-0. I had questions about this mid-jug, but they have all been answered. Now Ice could be the sacrificial lamb here. Looks like he is going to get frozen up. He's slithering away. The cold feet won't proc, and looks like the tornado way too short to catch up to that Slardar. He gets away scot-free. There's a big group up of dire heroes up top, but so far they haven't found anything.
Yeah, also just having the Infused Ranger up means that he's a very, very tanky hero. Having the Tranquil Boots as well as the Infused Ranger up just means you take so little damage early on, as that magic damage blocking is always going to pay a lot of favors to your team. When you talked about the Invoker early on, he's pretty much, when you run the crossbreak style, it is good against most heroes on the side of EM except the Jug. So having him in the middle and up against the Jug, it kind of feels like they're sacking the lane for the Invoker and just focusing more on like maybe the overall aspect of having the Invoker on the team, because like we talked about, he can set up for the AA blast, he can do a lot of work early on, but obviously he does need to be able to get farm to do that. And so far he is actually nearly 50% behind the Juggernaut in terms of last hits, and farm on top of that, the Juggernaut actually being 2,000 gold ahead. So that's quite a marginable lead for the Juggernaut, definitely.
Absolutely, and Juggernaut's going to hit his peak here. He's going to be going back to base to pick up some goodies. Up top, we've got a smoke gank here. Fenrir only sitting at level 5, so he doesn't have the extra armor from the Wii, but they're going to be going in on the Ancient Apparition, and, I mean, this Icicle just has to sit there and get munched on by wolves. Lycan, that was like 2 shots, and that was just, I think, a sign of things to come, as there's really no one on the side of EHOME that's struggling, whereas FTD.A, they're not really, you know, the Slark isn't feeding or anything. He's 0-0. Invoker only has 1 death to his name, but it feels like EHOME, they're just playing more cohesively, and you gotta expect that. Right now, FTD.A has 4 stand-ins. Now, okay, there's going to be that shallow grave, keeping everyone alive in the back lines. There's a double crush from Ice. He goes back on through, slithering away, just buying some time as the rest of the Radiant are able to fragment off, split up. There's going to be a full rotation in from the Dire. They're looking for something. They go into the Tornado, but we'll catch out Fenrir. He may end up going down here. One more hit from the Invoker will do the trick, but now the Wolves going back in. Fan, he's not backing off. They're bringing in Old Chicken, who does have the Omni Slash at the ready. Can they get him away from the creep wave? They might just go YOLO in. Oh no, it looks like this could be a second death from the Ancient Apparition. He respawns right into his death. Looks like there's going to be a leap away from the Slark. Can they get him caught up? This gonna be an Omni Slash. One hit secures the kill in the back lines. It's gonna be an Earth Splitter. Ice is doomed up but does not care. TP out from the Doom will take, so at least the Doom doesn't lose his life there, but Cookie Bear, I mean, he's just skirting away from a big train of destruction. He tries to roll out, but there's gonna be nothing there to save his life. Slardar picking up another kill here. That's gonna be 1-0-2 for the Fish Boy, and this is most certainly gonna be another tower going the way of EHOME, as FTD.A, they're scrambling. They're reacting to what EHOME's doing and not making any plays of their own.
Yeah, definitely. They're just trying to catch EHOME off guard, trying to rotate more people in than they have. But whenever EHOME just goes for the full 5-man squad, they are in a very much better position to take fights at this point. They are having a lot more farm behind the back, and the spells is just overall a lot better right now. You talked about the Slark, and the Slark fighting into a 5-man this early without having any huge items behind him. He's not able to do that in any way, especially having the ET there to just like, he can easily Echo Storm and then just pretty much solo zone him out. Because it is very difficult as a Slark to go into 3 very beefy right-clicking heroes.
Well, he's gonna try here. The wolves start munching away. Fenrir is hasted up, goes in with a poison touch, just completely forcing back the Slark here. 11 minutes in, Slark is scared of a Dazzle, and rightfully so. I mean, at this point, FTD.A just can't fight. You mentioned it, Slark has no real items yet. I mean, he's got his treads and an Aquila, but those are still laning fixed items. He doesn't have his first big one up yet, and it seems like EHOME, they are just all together. Now, Fan could end up paying the price here. He goes into that shapeshift. He's speedy. He pops up the wolves onto the Doom. Doom has no Doom at his disposal as he already popped it off last fight. Now, there's going to be a tornado buying some time for Cookie Bear to run away. Oh, but man, Fan is so fast. They're going to be going in. Can they get the kill on the Earth Spirit? He's trying to run. The Doom is there to try to give some extra little armor, but he tries to roll and gets slapped down by wolves. There's going to be a stomp coming on through. It does connect onto M. Do they have enough damage? They're going to follow up with an Earth Splitter. Now the wolves are there to block him in. He is just stuck between a rock and a hard place and gets munched on. There's a mega kill streak for this Juggernaut already. This is getting a bit absurd. We are 12 minutes in the game, and there's already a 7,500 gold lead for EHOME.
And this is pretty much just all down to that ET pickup early on. You saw the defensive power when FTD Club A tried to make a play onto one of the cures. He goes to a storm, and then they just stop up for like 3 to 4 seconds. You can rotate in the people, bringing them into position, get a kill, and then even when you're chasing people, you can use it offensively to stun up the Doom, make a couple of seconds space to buy for the team to go in, and then
Fan could be in some trouble here. He doesn't have that shapeshift to get on out. There's gonna be a shallow grave buying him some time, but it's only gonna last for so long. He's frozen up in place. The grave will end. Can they get a kill here? That would be pretty important. They land the pounce. They will get the kill. It goes the way of Earth Spirit once again. Not ideal if the Earth Spirit takes a second kill for himself. You really wanted that to go to Slark. You really got to get that gold going for this Fish Boy.
yeah, that was going to be a pretty huge kill. Maybe a little bit too much of an overextension from EHOME, but still, overall, they are going to be in a very, very comfortable position as they are still very, very far ahead. They got all of the tier 1 towers, tried to take a tier 2 tower that maybe they couldn't really take, not having enough spells ready, not enough people ready, but they're still going to be overall pretty nice. They can also go for like something like the early Roche very, very soon, as they do have a liking up. And he's going to go for the Necro Book as well, meaning that they want to push early. They want to do as much damage as possible early on in the game.
Yeah, this is shaping up to be a 9th death ball, but if EHOME get way too overextended, they can definitely start feeding the Slark. And, you know, I've seen Slarks come back from crazier games, and now there's going to be a Mango eaten up by Yin just trying to make some space as he picks up a magic stick. So really wanting to capitalize on the fact that EHOME are spamming out those spells early.
Yeah, we also see the Juggernaut actually going for the Yasha build, so you know, just once again getting another item that is going to be able to make him hit a lot harder early on. He is having a level advantage. He does have the level 2 Omni Slash, which is going to make him way more powerful, especially when you look at heroes like the Slug who's level 9.
He is in a world of trouble, gets crushed up. He has the ult at the ready, but may just sit there and yeah, no time to react on that. That animation was longer than the time he lived going to the rune. And now there's going to be a Roche attempt coming out. There's going to be a Tornado EMP. Old Chicken going to spin away, not going to lose that mana. And they know that Shade knows something's up, but at this point, FTD.A, they don't have big teamfight spells. I mean, yeah, they can pump an ulti from the AA into the pit, but there's really no follow-up. They're going to group up, they're going to see what they can get done, but without the Doom, there's really not a whole lot. There is going to be a really nice ult connected onto 4. They're all frosty. Can they get the Slark to go leap in? He still has no items. It looks like Ice. It's going to go through Lycan, snatches the Aegis of the Roshan is killed by the Dire, so at least they're going to get that gold going for them, but the extra life goes the way of the Lycan. You really don't want that. AA is going to be dying. After a really nice ult, he has to pay with his life. And it looks like, in the end, you know, small pennies go the way of FTD.A, but overall, EHOME just take that with a force.
And that's also pretty much just because they just didn't have enough ready to be able to take that fight. Waiting it out, man. Waiting it out.
Alright, I guess they were waiting for, you know, the Dazzle to come in, the Elder Titan to come in, and Invoker was able to go and get off that Ghost Walk, and there is currently no detection on the side of EHOME, so they sent Invoker back to tell his friends what he saw and not mess with EHOME anymore.
I think they knew that that he was going to be able to go for the Ghost Walk, so they just tried to like gather up and get as much burst as possible in like a small amount of time off. Didn't get the kill, but you know, just like you said, scaring him off, being like, "Don't come back, never come back."
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the overall XP, we've been hovering about 7,500, and obviously the Roshan steal did slow that down just a little bit. Dazzle goes through, gets a kill, and then Ancient Apparition. I mean, Ancient Apparition has just nothing here. Looks like going for a Midas on top of Brown Boots and still over 1,000 gold away from picking that up. It's not a good time to be a Snowball.
That it is gonna come down at a very late pace. And like when you look at heroes like the Earth with the A, they have only had a couple of ultimates in this game, and they haven't really been able to find any kind of kills, which is something you very much want. The Doom hasn't been used too much, and now it's gonna go into the mid lane.
Yeah, you might have spoken a little too soon. There is gonna be a crush here. Ice, Ice, Ice going in, make the most of that. Fenrir is gonna get blasted out. Doesn't even need it as Slark gets the kill for that. So much important kill for this Slark, and he's gonna be looking for more. He's going back on through. There is going to be a level 2 Omni Slash from Old Chicken. Who does he want to go on to? Can he find the Slark? Slark does have that ulti at the ready. Is he going to get a chance to cast it? He will. Now he's chasing after. He's trying to run back. There's going to be a tornado. There's going to be a really nice smash from Cookie Bear. Going back on through. Ice, Ice, Ice gets blasted apart. There is going to be an Omni Slash going on through, as that's going to be the damage. Coming up for the Radiant. The Earth Splitter coming back in. M gets sucked in, slapped down. The AA, one of the lone survivors, gets taken out as well. So it's going to be a 2-for-3 trade. Losing the Slardar, never ideal, but a really nice Omni Slash to finish things off. And in the end, it will be a positive trade for EHOME.
Yeah, that's just once again just turning things around, turning the fight around, having that ET to just set up for every kind of engagement. It is just so difficult for FTD Club A to fight into anything.
Oh, Shade. I mean, there's no way he can path himself around without getting played with. Now, Yin, he's standing here. There's no detection on the side of EHOME, so they just have to kind of stand there, and Yin gonna be sitting there with no essence shifts, so he's not having the best time as a Slark. He's going back on through. He gets crushed after reveals himself. There's going to be a cooldown, 4 seconds on his ult. No chance to cast that. Cookie Bear going in, pops out the Magnifies. He's going to be doing a decent amount of damage. Ice, Ice, Ice. The Grave is only going to last so long. They may end up getting the kill onto the Slardar. He will end up falling. Now we're going to see what happens here is okay. There's going to be Spin coming back on through. Fanny shapeshift up. He's ripping apart the AA. AA has no time to react. Looks like they're gonna leave Shade alone for now. They want to go in onto the Doom. The Doom still has his ulti at the ready. Hasn't had the chance to cast it off in a long while. The Stomp connects, and now Doom just gonna get one hit crit by Old Chicken. This is just looking miserable here. Shade, he's still invised up. There's really not much anyone can do about that, and I mean, you're just an Invoker left to defend your entire base up against a Deathball lineup. What do you do at this point? There's a reason FTD.A aren't tapping out, but it seems hopeless.
It is definitely as close to hopeless as they can possibly get. I mean, Invoker doesn't even have the level to be able to do the damage together with a Tornado EMP.
Oh, yeah, buddy.
He's a sad guy.
Absolutely. There is going to be a nice pounce connecting Fenrir. Going to be taking a nice blast and will end up dropping, so AA finding some much needed gold for that kill. Now Fan could be in some trouble. Doesn't have the shapeshift, has the wolves if he needs to get some blocking going, but he's silenced up. Can he fight this one off? He's got the lifesteal from the Vlads. Oh, they're going to go through. They're making a mess of the Dire. Leap up to the high ground means Slark will end up living, but such a panic moment for FTD.A. I don't think they're going to find a better initiation than that. And on backlines, there's going to be an Omni as Old Chicken just wants to clean up the trash. They're going in. He's still got his ulti. He's only had the chance to cast it off like twice this game, and it really hasn't had a huge impact either way. Now Yin revealing himself here. Is that a mistake? He doesn't have his ulti at the ready. There's going to be a stomp. It won't connect onto anyone. Just Elder Titan zoning everyone out. The first racks will end up falling at 19 minutes in. This is really looking abysmal in terms of overall XP. We are now approaching an 8k lead for EHOME. Gold's going to be about 14,000. Now, that is just so huge in terms of where the net worth is split. You look at these Dire supports, and they are just poor as all hell, waiting in line at the soup kitchen, and there's no handouts for them. No one on the side of the Dire supports has any items. Looks like AA is still waiting for the Midas, but it's going to be another couple of minutes unless he can find some farm right about now.
Yeah, you also Nether actually forced the Invoker to buy back as well. The Dazzle is actually approaching the point where he's going to be pretty much at the same amount of farm as the Invoker, so this is a very one-sided game for sure. The Dazzle actually getting close enough to get a mechanism of his own as well, so he's going to be able to put a lot of peeling pressure out. And FTD Club A actually trying to set up on the Juggernaut, but that's a very, very difficult kill to get.
The Jug illusions and this range creep are forcing back an AA. That is just such a miserable place to be. I mean, I'm a position 5 player, we've all been there, but And AA has not that much comeback mechanic. It's just the raw playstyle of the heroes. You don't play up, you don't play in the waves, you don't get that soaked experience. So a really lost laning stage for this AA means that he's going to be behind the rest of the game, however long that may be.
Yeah, he's gonna be able to grab up the Midas very, very soon, but that is, that is a very, very small thing that is going his way. All things considered, he is still very, very far behind. You have the Necrobook 3, although like him, so they also have a way to deal with the vision gaming they've been previously had some issues with from the Invoke as well as the Slark, sorry. So overall, they're just in a very good position. Obviously, the Slaughter having his blink initiation could buy 4-star or something like that as well. Elder Titan with too many items for support, honestly. 4-star Glimmer Cape, he's having a good time.
I mean, he's feeling real good. He's sitting, pretty much at the net worth of the position 1 Slark, and that is saying a whole lot now. There is going to be the rest of the Dire leaping back to safety. They just don't want to mess, and these Wolves, I mean, doing such an effective job, just giving vision, zoning everyone out, and it's going to mean that Radiant takes this tier 2 tower. Absolutely no contest. I mean, I don't think the Fortify is going to get busted here whatsoever, and AA finally picks up that Midas 21 minutes in, sitting on brown boots and a smoke, but what can the AA really do? Only level 7, and gonna be a long, long while before that level 11, and if somehow AA pulls an Ags out of his butt, I will be so surprised.
I mean, most of these heroes on the side of FTD.A just rely on having levels. I mean, the A, the Earth Spirit, even the Invoker relies heavily on having a level advantage. So at this point, the damage output is just very, very hurting.
They're looking for something. There's going to be going through. They get a crush onto Yin. He's going to die before the party even starts. There's going to be an Ice Blast. It will connect onto Lanham. He's going to get magnetized, taking a bit of damage before stuffs himself back out. Now, FN, he's all in this. He's just going to be ripping apart the Necro Creeps, the Wolves, the Petting Zoo. Ends up taking out the AA. And they're looking for more. I mean, Fan just has no breaks here. He shapeshifted up. The shapeshift will end at some point. Now, they're just going to be going through. Can the Wolves, can the Petting Zoo finish it off? Looks like there's going to be the wand popped out. One more hit. There's going to be a triple kill for the Lycan, even though he's nowhere nearby. I mean, his lackey's doing the work for him there, and it looks like this may end up being GG, as it's only the Invoker and the Slark left to defend, and Slark still really has no items. Went for a Shadow Blade first, and that is sure as hell a defensive Shadow Blade. I mean, he's not going to go through with defensively, and he pops out the ult. Going to be looking for something, but just takes a negative earn. He's going to look for the leap onto the high ground, but may still end up getting splatted down. There's going to be a stomp. It's off the mark, but he's effectively forced back. There's a crush. There's going to be a nice tornado lock-in Flarder in place. Ice may end up paying for this. Going to get force staffed out. Glimmer caped away. I mean, Elder Titan just putting in the hours as a support here. Now Cookie Bear getting chunked down in the shadow of his own Ancient. This is not looking fun if you're the Dire at this point. Over a 22,000 XP, or rather net worth lead. And they're going to back off. Looks like they're going to go for Roche, or at least clearing out the bottom lane. But, FTD.A, they are going to tap out and say GG at this point. It's just a little too bloody. 28-7 at 23 minutes in. Now, Mad Kings, this is going to be a best of 2 series. We've got another one coming up. What do you think FTD.A have to do to adjust their playstyle to take a game off EHOME?
I think definitely they need to be focusing a little bit more on the laning stage, because like you said, they had some very, very rough times getting space in the lanes, and that's pretty much because they had a Slug as well as the Invoker. The Invoker had a tough time in the mid lane, so they kind of need to be able to have supports rotating in to help him. But that being said, you can't leave the Slug alone, like we talked about it, up against the Slaughter, the Doom in the off lane. I mean, he could leech the lane, but EHOME just had too much space to work with. They got the items a lot earlier. They got found in pretty much all of the lanes. So FTD.A needs to be putting some more aggressive supports, maybe. Or at least like some core that doesn't need as much help. The Slug is always going to be one of those very, very greedy picks, even though it is a strong hero overall. This laning stage is just very, very weak for him, so you need too much space to work with.
Alright, so again, we are going to head into Game 2 in just a couple of moments. This has been your English coverage of the Dota 2 Professional League group stages. I'm Annie, that's Mad Kings. Stick around, going to throw you guys into a brief break, but should be no more than 5-10 minutes to game number 2 of EHOME versus FTD.A.